works. Okay. Excellent connection. Looks like we're live. Are we actually? Hey, okay. I think we are now. Let's go on my phone and double check that we're actually live. This is a good start to the stream. Somebody is actually here at the start of
Perfect.
it and they're just like, what is going on? Okay, there we go. I see it. I'm gonna throw in my headphones to make sure that our audio is good. Whoa, I'm watching us. This is crazy.
It's like a dream in a dream type situation.
Yeah. Oh, my headphones aren't even. Okay. All right, let's see. So I'm gonna be talking right now like I'm talking about basketball. Okay, your turn.
Perfect. I'm here. What's up, Owen? We ready to do this? We ready to see the March Madness bracket come out?
Okay.
We good?
Cool. Sweet. We got audio for both of us. Awesome. We're live. They can hear us. This is great. So,
Let's go, Owen. Let's go. Let's do this. Today's the day, March 17th, that the bracket is coming out. I mean, this is what we've waited for the past 364 days. It's just been on our mind every single night. And today is the day.
ever since Parker's last birthday, we've been waiting. I want to start with that. Happy birthday to Parker. If anybody's here, if anybody's in the chat, this is new, so I gotta actually see where I can find the chat because I haven't been checking on that at all. But yeah, we got to start off with the chat saying happy birthday to Parker because his birthday was yesterday. Okay, I see the chat now. Perfect. So yeah, happy birthday to Parker in the chat if anyone's here.
I mean, this is the best. This is the best birthday present. I mean, getting 64 teams, 68 with the first 4 games into the tournament. I mean, this is an amazing birthday present. I'm excited to break some of this down now, and it's gonna be fun just to get an actual bracket because we can talk about the teams all we want, but it's really the matchups that matter. You know, they're gonna be playing each other, only one winner, like gladiator style back in the Roman Empire. I mean, this is like the epitome of being a human, you know? And so I'm
the epitome of being a human.
Yeah, it is. It honestly is. I mean, where do you want to start? I could really start anywhere. We still have, what, 5 minutes before the bracket starts getting revealed. I'll have this pulled up here so that way we don't miss it. But we could really start anywhere you want.
Yeah. I think I want to start with the conference tournaments. Obviously, just wrapped up. It's the first time since 2019 that 3 of the projected 1 seeds did not win their conference tournament. They all lost except for UConn. How much stock do you put into conference championships slash just runs in the conference? Like if a team makes it to the semifinals, they make it to the championship and lose. How do you factor that in?
Well, I think for tournament losses, it does affect you a little bit. It's hard to tell exactly how much, but I think with tournament losses, you're obviously coming into the tournament not on the right foot. So you have a week to remedy whatever happened in that last game. There's a reason why you lost, and so you have a week to figure that out. Sometimes it can almost light a fire under you. So sometimes I think it can be good. But a lot of times you come into the tournament with a loss, and it's a little bit tougher, I feel. So UConn was the only 1 seed that ended up winning their tournament, and they've kind of been just on a roll this entire year. They played more like a team than probably any other in the country. I think they had 21 assists on 26 field goals last game. So they really spread the ball around. Play really like a team. So it's going to be fun to see them in the tournament, see how far they can go. But I would also say going on big runs does help a little bit. I mean, you look at UConn led the Kemba Walker team back in 2011. and they ended up winning 5 games in 5 days, and then they went on a run as well in the tournament. You have Syracuse, who did a similar thing just a couple years back. So I feel like with those lower seeded teams, going on a run does help because you're actually starting to play better just at the perfect time, you know. So I do think there is some stock to that for lower seeded teams, but I'm not going to put too much emphasis on it for higher seeded teams, especially if it's only one loss and they can correct what just happened. So it's not, in my opinion, the end of the world. Like a Tennessee who lost round one, or UNC losing in the semis, or Purdue losing in the semis. It's not a huge problem for me. So
okay. Speaking of Purdue, UConn, Tennessee probably won't get a 1 seed, but of the projected 1 seeds, which one are you the most confident in to go on a deep run? Because obviously not all don't pick all 4 1 seeds to go to the Final Four. That doesn't happen. But generally one of them is able to make a deep run. So if you had to pick one of the 1 seeds, who do you feel most confident in?
Yeah, it has to be UConn right now. I mean, they look almost unstoppable. They've beaten a lot of high quality teams. Right now, KenPom, they're clearly number one. And they're going to be the number 1 overall seed in this bracket. Donovan Clingan, their big guy, is just a beast. Like he eats everything, and he's been playing really well over the last couple of months. He started off the season a little bit slower, and they have a decent amount of depth too. Like all their players are really solid, and so it's going to be tough to bet against them in March. It should be, let's see, it's 5:59, so we got 1 minute left before the bracket. I'm just refreshing here, waiting for it. But it's going to be hard to bet against UConn, honestly, because they just haven't lost in a very long time. And they're 31-3. They got 31 wins on the year. They just beat Marquette twice. So just in the past month, they beat them twice, which is the second best team in their division. They beat a hard St. John's team in the semifinals. And you have to go all the way back. Let's see. You have to go back really, really far to figure out December 20th, Owen. December 20th is the last time that they lost. And they lost by 15 to Seton Hall. So that's how far back you have to go in order to find a loss on their record. And it's honestly, actually February 20th, they lost as well. So they lost to Creighton, who at that point was a 8th team in the nation. But yeah, they have a very, very good record. They haven't lost a whole lot of games, and that's because they play well together. So I'm going to bet on them in March for sure.
And I mean, the winner of last year's tournament, it's going to be a pretty easy decision to continue to ride them. They did it last year. Obviously, they would be confident that they can do it again. So I would like to brag a little bit. I did have them in losing in the championship last year. So I had UConn going real far. Didn't quite get it, having them win. But yeah, I just put in the chat, ask Parker some questions about March Madness when people are popping in. That's one of the main functions of this, is so that people can ask questions. Parker can give advice on the matchups as they come in, and just kind of give analysis to help people make their picks, because we can finally make the picks in just a few minutes. We'll finally be able to. At the bottom, we've got the ticker going. It just says team 1 versus team 2, etc. right now, because we don't know yet. But as the matchups come in, I'll be putting those in so you guys can see all of the matchups go. We'll only be talking about one at a time, but as we're talking about it, you'll be able to see all the other ones as they come through. So, I just lost the live stream, so that's not good. Let's see. Is it still going? No, it says it's still going. Okay. The bitrate just got low, so it froze, and it had a problem with that. So that's cool.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So.
Oh man, this intro on ESPN is pretty cool. It's getting me hyped up.
Yeah, Parker's watching. He's gonna be the one.
You're gonna see you're gonna see my live reaction to this
His
thing.
actual live reaction.
Actual live reaction. That's right.
So.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what conferences do well this year as well. Like, can the Mountain West? They had San Diego State go pretty far last year, but can they have a couple of their teams actually win games besides San Diego State? Because everybody, I think, lost first round for the Mountain West last year, except for San Diego State, which ended up saving their conference a little bit from like public humiliation. But it's gonna be interesting to see if they can really pick it up, because they were a fun conference this year. Like, they beat each other up, but they had like 7 teams that were just battling each other. And yeah, it's going to be fun to see if they can pick up some wins this year. I hope they can, honestly. I want them to pick up some wins against those Power 5 conferences. So.
And then the conference that you don't like has traditionally been the Big Ten. You're a known Big Ten hater. Yeah.
Yeah, they've proven again and again that they just lose in the tournament. I mean, you see it every year with Purdue, but it's not just Purdue. It's all Big Ten schools for the most part. They play schools from, they get upset by mid-majors. They play schools from the SEC or the Big 12, and it's not really a fight. So the winner this year of the Big Ten was Illinois. Just today, they ended up beating Wisconsin. And it's interesting. Like, they've got players. Like, these schools in the Big Ten, they're good teams, but it's tough to actually pick them because they lose again and again. Terrence Shannon Jr. I don't know if you've seen him for Illinois, but he has 76 points over the last 2 games. Semifinal, he dropped 40, and then he dropped 36 in the final. Like, there's some players this year in March. Marquette has 2 guys who could get drafted in the first round. Probably more likely going to be second-round draft picks, but Isaac Okoro and then Tyler Culloch. Like, there's going to be some guys in March who are going to be stepping up. I don't know if you remember Max Asmus for Oral Roberts, Owen.
I remember.
A couple years back.
Yes. Yeah.
Guess who? Do you know who he plays for now?
Is he on Marquette, I'm going to guess?
No, he plays for Texas now. Okay. He's Texas' guy. He's Texas's main guy.
Oh,
so gotcha. He'll be in the tournament again, which should be pretty fun. Yeah. But there's some dogs that are going to be in the tournament this year. Tennessee's Dalton Knecht. The guy is crazy. Tennessee lost their first game, but he's wild. He's a really good player. He dropped 40 the other day too, a couple weeks ago. And yeah, it's going to be fun to watch this tournament. The Yale Bulldogs out of the Ivy League, ESPN just pulled up their game right now, but they were down 4 with 14 seconds left. Like, didn't have any really shot, and then hit a 3, got the ball back with 6 seconds left, and then literally game is on the line, get a floater with like 0.1 left to get in the tournament. Like, man, there's just been some fun stuff already this year. Yeah. It's going to be really fun to see who's what the seeding is right here. I assume we'll have UConn as the number 1 overall seed. Mm-hmm. But like, matchups are everything, and it'll be interesting to see, like, man, some of these bubble teams, like, are they going to get in? Are they not going to get in? Is there any bubble teams you're interested in knowing?
My top bubble team is probably Michigan State. I'm a big KenPom guy. Main part because I like analytics, part because it makes my life easier. I don't know as much about college basketball as Parker, so KenPom's you got a spreadsheet, gives you a lot of information easily. And KenPom has Michigan State as their 20th team, so very high for what a bubble team would be. So that's the most interesting for me. They have the 9th ranked defense per KenPom, and another just like personal thing, I like defensive teams in March Madness, so a top 10 defensive team. Also, their luck rating, which is one of my favorite things in KenPom, looking at the luck ratings, Michigan State has been incredibly unlucky. They are let me pull it up. They're in like the top 20 unluckiest teams statistically. in the country. So
They're
that's
355th in the nation.
they are, yeah.
I mean, I think there's only 370 some schools.
So yeah, 355th is like very unlucky. You flip it.
Unlucky, exactly.
Yeah, South Carolina is an interesting. They've been the second luckiest. So that's another one to keep an eye on. Virginia, Utah State also in like the top 20 of being the luckiest. So
winning those Mountain West games. Yeah. I don't know how they calculate luck. It seems to me like if you win close games, if you do it consistently, it feels like it's not luck after some point. Like if you keep winning close games. But there is some truth to like, man, we're winning games by 1 or 2. Like, can this go on forever type thing?
I know how it's calculated. I can't necessarily explain it to you, but I can. It's their expected win rate minus their actual win rate, and also the Pythagorean theorem is involved. I looked it up. I found it on KenPom. I was like, how is this calculated? Because it's just called a luck rating. So I was like, what stats they use for that? But it's it's like expected win versus actual win, which makes sense. And then there's like an equation that it gets put into. So
gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. But of the top teams, the most notable are that Auburn and Duke have been incredibly unlucky, and Purdue has been very lucky. So those are the most notable.
Very interesting.
Actually, I think KenPom has updated. Michigan State is 18th now.
Oh, yes.
So they've moved up.
Yep. They've moved up in the KenPom rankings.
Yeah.
They do have 14 losses, though. So, I mean, they've been playing some really tough competition, but 14 losses is a lot of losses. It's closer to bubble team number of losses. You know, some of the other teams that are on the bubble, Virginia, Indiana State, St. John's, I don't think any of them have 14 losses. St. John's has 13. Virginia, how many does Virginia have here?
Mississippi State has 13. Florida has 12. Texas A&M 14. And then the rest of the teams probably aren't.
Virginia has 10. Virginia has 10. Seton Hall's on the bubble. They've got 12.
There you go.
So it is a decent number of losses.
Yes.
Pittsburgh is on the bubble. They have, I think Oklahoma's on the bubble as well. They got 12.
Is Kansas State on the bubble?
11. Kansas State, they're decently in, I think.
Okay, they're 19 and 14. So
okay.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Oh, wait, you say Kansas State?
Yeah.
Oh, no, they're definitely on the bubble. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Regular Kansas, they're in.
Kansas is in. I thought TCU is another purple team I get them confused with. TCU is definitely in the tournament.
Yes. TCU, KenPom has 33, 33rd overall. They're fairly balanced. They're top 40 in offense and defense, so good balance there. That's another thing. We're talking about a lot of Big 12 teams. I think even before the bracket is like set, I'm gonna be a big Big 12 guy this year, just because they have the most teams in the tournament. I just feel like they're all gonna be really well prepared because they've been playing each other, battling it out all year, and so I think I'm gonna pick a lot of Big 12 teams to have upsets or just like go farther than expected. I think I'm going to be a big fan of the Big 12 this year.
What do you think about Houston's loss? They got absolutely smoked by Iowa State, like destroyed.
Yeah, that was very concerning.
Like it wasn't even close.
Yeah.
It wasn't even close.
Yeah, Iowa State jumped them out the gate and then that was it. I've been confident in Houston the past 2 years. Like I've had them going pretty far in at least 2, if not 3 of my last brackets the past 2 or 3 years. So I'm considering pulling back this year because they've burned me 2 years straight. and I don't know if I can go back to the Houston well. But also, I feel like they are better this year than previous years, so that's what's keeping me kind of in that area of believing in them. So I don't know. Yeah, Houston's one of the more difficult decisions I'm gonna have to make because I like Houston. I like watching them. I want them to do well, but I don't know if I can risk getting burned by them for a third year. So I might just hedge my bets and like not pick them to go far, and then I'll be happy if they do. Like, good for you, Houston. I want you guys to succeed. I just didn't pick you to.
All right. Oh,
it's time. It's time. Here we go.
UConn versus Stetson. UConn versus Stetson.
Parker's gonna give you guys the matchups. He's gonna talk about them. I'm gonna be putting the teams in. So this is the reaction part of the live stream. UConn versus Stetson.
UConn versus Stetson is the 1 versus 16 in this region. And then you have, hold on one sec. All right, UConn versus Stetson. Florida Atlantic versus Northwestern. 8 versus 9.
Ooh.
Wow, that's a good 8 versus 9 matchup. Florida Atlantic versus Northwestern. San Diego State versus UAB. UAB obviously just won their conference tournament in the AAC. It's going to be taking on San Diego State out of the Mountain West. And then Auburn versus Yale. 4 versus 13, Auburn versus Yale. Holy cow. Auburn just obviously won the SEC. UConn obviously just won the Big East. So they could have a potential matchup in the Sweet 16. Wow.
Dang it, Auburn and UConn in the same region? Wait, that didn't even...
That
didn't register to me.
There still is 2 and 3 seeds.
Oh, dang it.
Holy cow, they're going to be playing each other in the Sweet 16.
I was so I was really confident in picking Auburn as a good, like, yeah, Elite 8, Final 4, kind of like sleeper run from the 4 seed. But if they got to play UConn, dang it. I wish they were with any other 1 seed. I would have much easier picked them to beat any other 1 seed than UConn.
They could be on a collision course. They could be on a collision course for the Sweet 16.
The winner of that Sweet 16 game, could be like a semifinal game. Like, the winner of that should be set.
Hey, who knows? Maybe UConn will lose to Stetson and they won't even make it to the Sweet 16. No, I'm just kidding.
It's crazy things have happened.
Even Yale, the Auburn Yale game is a little bit tricky there for Auburn because Yale is a really good 13 seed. The Ivy League this year was the best the Ivy League's been in the last 15 years. So the Bulldogs could be a little bit of a sleeper there in their first round matchup with Auburn. San Diego State UAB, that is one to keep your eye on. UAB is obviously coming off they're on a 4 or 5 game win streak. Obviously, they just won their tournament. So they're going to be playing San Diego State, which made it to the championship game in the Mountain West. So San Diego State, they're big. They've got a lot of guys, and they've been battling out in the Mountain West. Obviously, last year they made a run. And the bottom of the bracket is released. BYU versus Duquesne in the 6-11. BYU versus Duquesne in the 6-11. That is an interesting matchup. I'm interested to see they put Duquesne that high up there. I didn't think Duquesne would be an 11 seed, but wow, okay. All right. Illinois versus Morehead State. Oof. Okay. That's going to be an interesting matchup. 3 versus 14. Morehead State always does something when they're towards the bottom of the bracket there. Washington State versus Drake in the 7-10. Wazoo has beaten Arizona a couple of times. So Wazoo is a great team in the Pac-12. Drake, obviously, they have 28 wins on the year. Iowa State versus South Dakota State is the 2 versus 15. So, wow, this division has Iowa State, Illinois, Auburn, and UConn. Iowa State, Auburn, and UConn all in the same division. This is
the best 1 seed, the best 2 seed, and the best 4 seed.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Hands down. The best 1 seed, best 2 seed, and best 4 seed all in the same division.
Jeez.
Iowa State, and they're all coming off conference tournament wins. Each of these 3 teams. Wait, no. And Illinois, too.
They put four conference. I feel so bad for all of these teams. They all won the conference championships, and they're all in the same. They're all gonna knock each other. Man,
they all won their conference tournament in each of these power conferences. The Big Ten, the Big 12. Wow,
that's so unfortunate for those teams.
The Big East and the SEC, literally 4 out of the 5 power conferences, they're the winners of the tournament, and now they're going to be battling each other. Wow, this is crazy.
Jeez, like wow, those 4 teams could be a Final Four with by themselves, and they're wow, man, that's crazy.
Wow, Wazoo versus Drake in the 7-10. It's impressive to see Drake get a 10 seed. That leads me. I mean, Drake and Indiana State are really close to each other. If they gave Drake a 10 seed, I could see. I mean, they might have Indiana State in this tournament. They're a bubble team. I guess we'll have to wait and find out. But
yeah,
wow, that's going to be a great battle. Illinois obviously has this guy who averages throughout the tournament. He was dropping 30 a game. He's had 76. Terrence Shannon Jr. over the last 2 games. That's, I mean, if you average that out, that's what, like 76. That's 38 points per game. So literally crazy. Yeah. Illinois versus Morehead State is going to be a good battle. BYU Duquesne. Duquesne, obviously, they're coming off a win as well in their tournament. So, I mean, this is just a loaded region. I mean, this is a crazy way to start off.
That's another thing. I forgot about that. I kind of hate this region because this region is full of so many different teams that I was going into this thinking I wanted to pick. I was like, I think I like to pick. I want to pick UConn to go deep. I want to pick Auburn to go deep. I want to pick BYU to go deep. I want to pick Iowa State. There's 4 teams in here.
They can't go deep now.
At their seeding, I really liked. I love UConn. Iowa State, best 2 seed. Auburn, BYU. I was like, I love BYU as a 5 or 6 seed. Now I feel like they're just gonna get goodness.
Crazy. This is wild. Okay, Houston versus Longwood over in the South region.
So they did the East first, and then now the South.
Yep.
Okay.
Obviously, we knew Houston was going to be that 2 line, even though they lost. They were still dominant all year, have 30 wins on the year. Houston versus Longwood. The 8-9 matchup, Nebraska versus Texas A&M. That's going to be a good battle. That's going to be a really good battle. Big Ten team got a sniper, the Japanese sniper versus Texas A&M. That's going to be a good, impressive battle there. Wisconsin versus James Madison. James Madison with 12 line, very impressive. Very impressive by James Madison. They've obviously won 31 games on the year. Wisconsin at the 5 line. So Wisconsin versus James Madison. They just lost in the conference championship final to Illinois. And then you have Duke versus Vermont. Interesting there. Every year people pick Vermont. Every year they lose. I wonder if this is the year they do it on the big stage versus Duke.
Duke would be crazy.
That would be wild. They've obviously had a very successful year, just like they do. They run their division. They always make it out. Mm-hmm. And now they get Duke in the first round matchup. That's going to be, wow, pretty crazy. Not quite as loaded as the East. I think the East is going to be the division to watch. Like, there's always one side that's bigger. The East is just every seed has won. Like, basically every seed has won their tournament. They're all coming in hot. All of them. And so whoever makes it out of there is going to be battle tested. I'll tell you that.
It's like they just decided to load up the East.
They just loaded it up for what reason? Usually UConn, they would have the 8th best team in that same bracket. Iowa State is not the 8th best. They're the 5th best. They're the best 2 seed. So it's just a bad draw for UConn. They also have to play Auburn, who's in KenPom, the top 4 team in KenPom right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's a really interesting. How many of these top KenPom teams? So in the East, we have Connecticut.
There's three of the top 5.
Yeah,
the top 5.
Auburn's 4. Iowa State is 5. Illinois is 10. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
So
BYU is
4
16.
of the top 10. 4 of the top 10. BYU is 16th. But you have 3 of the top 5 and 4 of the top 10 teams in KenPom all in the same region.
Oh my word.
Wow.
Okay.
This is crazy.
Goodness.
All right, and let's see here. So we also have Texas Tech. This is in the South now. Texas Tech versus NC State in a 6-11 matchup. NC State, I watched them live on Friday. They were just so fun to watch. Just won, obviously, the ACC. Kentucky versus Oakland in the 3-14 matchup. Kentucky being in this region, they're just such a fun team. That is going to be awesome. Florida versus, oh, look at this. We got a first 4 game, and it's not 11 seeds. It's actually a first 4 matchup for the 10 seed line.
Wait, that's possible?
So we have Florida. Yeah. If the teams are good enough in the first 4, because there's been so many bid stealers that those bid stealers, they have lower seeds. Like Duquesne is an 11 seed, right? So that moves up the first 4 matchup to a 10 seed game.
I never knew that.
And it's Florida versus Boise State / Colorado. Is it Colorado State or just Colorado? It doesn't say.
Just Colorado. I'm seeing just Colorado.
Yeah, but it just says Boise as well.
Okay.
So, but I know it's Boise State. So let's figure that out.
Texas Tech NC State is a game that I am going to do everything in my power to watch, because again, a matchup of 2 teams that I like really wanted to pick to do well. I like Texas Tech and I like NC State. So unfortunate, it's too bad they're facing each other, but that game will be good.
And then you got Marquette versus Western Kentucky there in the 2-15 matchup. Obviously, Marquette has a couple really, really good guys. They're getting Tyler Kolek back. Hopefully, for the tournament, he sat out the entire Big East tournament, and so they end up losing to UConn in the championship game. But they're just a fun team to watch, and they obviously have Stevie Mitchell, which is he's the glue guy. He holds the team together. I like Mark. But running into the 3 seed there, Kentucky, they're like all over the place. Kentucky plays no defense, but their offense is just so elite. I think in KenPom, what's their offensive rank? There's something ridiculous. Let me find it.
Yeah, Kentucky is 5th in offense and 108th in defense.
Yeah, they're all offense, no defense. It's crazy, but honestly, they could play with anybody. Like they're gonna score 80 points on UConn, even and actually that could be crazy. Imagine an Elite 8 matchup of Houston versus Kentucky, like off the epitome this year of offense versus defense. I think Houston is second in the entire nation in defense, only behind Iowa State. So you have offense in Kentucky, the 5th best offense, and all of these guys who could go to the lottery, like in the NBA draft. And then you have Houston playing crazy good defense. That would be awesome to see that matchup. That would be an elite matchup.
I hope we get that now.
Sweet. That would be so cool. Like just to see that game, the ratings on that would be through the roof. Man, that division is just a fun one. You have Marquette, which is a fun team. You got Houston, which is a fun team. I want to see if there's any matchups there that. You have NC State in that one, which they've obviously been on a roll. So that is just a really fun division or fun bracket. Sorry, in the South. Wow. This is so fun just to see these actual matchups coming out. It's I don't know what the committee is thinking, putting that many teams in the East. Like, what are you doing? Like,
I think that's definitely going to be a big talking point.
3 of the top 5 teams in the nation, theoretically, are in the same division. And literally 5 or 6 teams, I think. Well, actually, we should go down through. Maybe we can do this now and see how many of these teams won their tournament, won their bracket, including the 16 seeds and everything. Obviously, they won to get automatic buys. But it might be 14 of the 16 teams in that region have won their tournament. Just absolutely wild that many teams can be put together in the same region.
Yeah, we can look into that. Since we're on the South right now. So half the bracket is revealed already. That felt like it blew by, but we have half the bracket now. So this is setting up now that depending on how it falls, there could be one region that ends up, because of the East being like super front loaded, we could end up having a bracket that's the opposite, where it's like, oh, this team has a real easy path to get through. So now
it's really interesting to see how that falls. I don't think the South is that region. I wonder if the bottom two, the other two regions will. I don't know. I guess we'll find out and see. We already have 4 of the top 5 KenPom teams picked. Purdue's the only one left, and Purdue obviously has their struggles in March. So
historically,
it could be very interesting to see who comes. Like they might not be quite as loaded, these other 2 regions, because that first region is just that's off the charts. I can't believe they did that. The committee is like just being really ruthless.
He still hasn't wrapped his head around it.
To Auburn. I mean, man, I just feel really bad for them. Wow. But hey, that's just what happens. Iowa State, hey, congratulations on winning the hardest division in basketball. Now go face Connecticut. Now go face UConn. Like, okay, go face Auburn, the best defensive team in the nation. And it looks like,
dude, if Iowa State and Auburn play each other at some point, that, like we talked about, offense on defense, Kentucky, Houston, there's going to be like 100 total points scored in that game. It'd be crazy.
Yeah, that's the defense versus that's the number what?
Number 1 for Iowa State.
Number 4 versus number 1 in the country in defense. Like, these defensive powerhouses are just going to be battling it out. Florida, obviously, they just played really, really well in their conference tournament. They are in the South region. They're going to be taking on the winner of, I think it ended up being Colorado State, because they're the team that was on the bubble, right? I can't confirm that because it's not going into more depth here.
Yeah,
but
I will look into that.
I'm almost, or actually, let me check. It might be Colorado. No, Colorado State was one of the last 4 buys. Oh, but last 4 in was Colorado. So I would say, yeah, Colorado.
Okay.
It's probably that team there. So you got Boise State versus Colorado. It's interesting because some of these bubble teams, I haven't seen their names come up yet. Like, where's St. John's at? Where's TCU? Where's Oklahoma? Where's Virginia? Where's Indiana State? Like, haven't seen these teams yet.
That's another great part of this, is like sometimes you don't realize in the moment, and then after the bracket's all out, you're like, wait a minute, they didn't make it. And yeah, it's like an extra reveal.
I know. I feel so bad. Imagine you're just with your team waiting for your name to get called, and it just never gets called.
Okay,
that must be the worst.
Confirmed, it is Colorado for sure.
Perfect. Okay. Awesome. All right. Yeah, I mean, I need to look at the matchups more to figure out. All right, looks like the Midwest region just got released here.
Ooh, here we go.
Purdue versus the winner of 2 random teams that I'm not quite sure of.
Okay.
MTST versus Graham. I don't know, for 16 seeds.
16s, yeah.
Utah State versus TCU in the 8-9 matchup. Obviously, Utah State won the Midwest just rankings. They won the Midwest region. Or sorry, not the Midwest, the Mountain West region. TCU, they're versing TCU, the Horned Frogs.
Yeah.
They've had a successful year in the toughest conference in basketball. 5-12, you got Gonzaga versus McNeese State, I believe. McNeese State.
Okay.
That is, wow, that's going to be a battle there. Gonzaga hasn't had their best year, but obviously they're still Gonzaga. And then you got at the 4 versus 13 line, Kansas versus Samford. Wow, the 2 of the weaker 4 and 5 seeds there in the same region. Same with the 1 seed. Purdue, obviously, every year has their struggles. So this region right now is looking to be, in my opinion, the weakest out of all regions so far. I'm interested to see who the 2 and 3 seeds are in this region. If we have 2 and 3 seeds that are like, I don't know, Arizona and Creighton or something like that, that
I think
honestly is going to be the weakest division, like the weakest section in all of and out of all the regions here. So I'm interested to see what the teams are.
I can tell you Creighton is the 3 seed. So
are you serious? Yeah. Oh, did it already get confirmed? Am I a little behind?
I'm on an article that's updating them, so that's probably a little bit quicker than like the ESPN broadcast. You nailed that. Creighton's the 3 seed. So
wow,
it looks like this shook out to be, and also the 6 seed is South Carolina, who we said earlier has been the second luckiest team in all of the nation. So
that's right. Yep, I'm seeing it now. So South Carolina versus Oregon, Creighton versus Akron. Oh, you do have Texas in here. All right, I like that Texas team. Wow, look at that. Colorado State University versus UVA. UVA got a first 4 game. That's crazy. They were projected to be out. I don't know if that's a little bit of UVA bias. That might be a little bit of UVA bias. And then guess who's on the 15 line, Owen? Guess who's on the 15 line?
Peacocks are back.
Wow. St. Peter's is back on the 15 line. They're taking on Tennessee in the first round. And yeah, by far and away. I mean, even Tennessee lost their first round game of their conference tournament. So this region is far and away, in my opinion, the weakest region. Some of these games are, I mean, there's still great teams, obviously, but some of these teams are fading as opposed to, coming in strong. I would consider Tennessee to be fading a little bit. Purdue, obviously, is Purdue. Mm-hmm. But honestly, this could be the year where Purdue actually, if they step it up, there's not a ton of competition. They're not in such a hard region. So if they actually perform the way that they could end up actually making it this year. Who knows out of this region? Wow.
Maybe wow. The committee did it on purpose. They were like, we need to help out Purdue. How do we do it? I know. We'll load the East and we'll make the Midwest easy.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, that's what it looks like here. You do have some interesting double-digit seeds. I do really like Oregon at the 11 line there. They just took down Arizona. And Oregon, I feel like every year, I remember the year right after COVID, they made a little run. They beat the 2 seed. And then a couple years back, it was like 6 or 7 years ago, when they had Jordan Bell. I don't know if you remember this Oregon squad. But I remember them because they were fantastic. They went on a great run in March. So never count out Oregon. They seem to have a history of making some runs. Akron at the 14 line. Akron has played exceptionally this past year. Let me pull up. Oh man, Akron has they've got a great roster. I think they've got a couple guards. Say that again?
While you're pulling that up, we have a couple of questions. Tyreek asks, Parker, how can Owen win March Madness this year? I chose correctly by selecting UConn to win the men's. That's a lie. He made that up. He didn't actually pick UConn last year, so pay no attention to that. So how can Owen win March Madness? Kind of a broad question. And then Luke said, I'm for St. Peter's. They're going all the way this year. I still have my shirt. I still have my shirt too, Luke, actually. I don't know. It's somewhere in my closet. And then he also asked, is St. Peter's a good upset pick this year? But you've said before the tournament that you really like Tennessee. Before the SEC tournament, you said that. So it'd be tough to have St. Peter's upset one of the teams that you liked going into this.
Yeah, so, I mean, St. Peter's, obviously I love them, but Tennessee is they're a great squad. Zakai Ziegler, they got a little point guard. He just runs the show. You obviously got Dalton Knecht, who could go for 40 on every single night. So, in my opinion, it's hard to see that happening again, especially because St. Peter's isn't the same St. Peter's team. All their players basically left and transferred to Seton Hall with their coach. So it's a completely different squad. They don't really have anybody that was there a couple years ago when they ended up beating Kentucky and Purdue. So I would say it's. I mean, I'm not gonna pick it. I don't think it'll happen, but who knows? I mean, it could. But I'd say the percent of that is probably less than 3%. So 97% sure that Tennessee's going to win that game. In terms of how can Owen, I think Owen, you need to start with just beating your girlfriend, obviously.
Oh wow, we went right to that.
I don't know if I should have said that on live or not.
No, I've talked about it on the podcast before.
Okay.
At least last year. Last year I was like, guys, I lost again, and then yeah. So it's fine to talk about on the live stream. Just hurts the ego. Yeah.
That's step one. But then just pick the champion, just like Tyreek did last year, picking UConn.
Allegedly.
Just pick the champion. You'll have a good chance if you pick the winner, especially if you pick the championship game correct, because those games are worth so much more than the first couple of rounds. So picking upsets is fun and exciting, but it's even better if you pick the champion. So do your research, do your homework, Cohen, and just pick UConn to go all the way this time instead of just losing the championship game.
Dude, I'm in a tough spot here because it's like, do I pick UConn to win it again? And then they lose, and it's like UConn has burnt me twice. Or do I pick them to lose? But then if I do that, you know they're going to win, and it's like, you should have picked them 2 years in a row. So it's really lose-lose. Like, I feel like whatever I pick them to do, they're going to do the opposite.
You've got a one-seed debacle because you have UConn. You also have Houston, who could burn you as well this year. And
Purdue can always burn anyone. So
right, and Purdue, I mean, Purdue, they just burn everybody, so it's not just the U problem. You know what I mean? So,
which leaves me with the weakest one seed of North Carolina, right?
Yeah. So North Carolina will be.
I don't.
They're going to be in this final region. But, yeah, I mean, it's going to be really. I mean, this bracket is just shaping up to be something crazy. I'm expecting this region to be the second or third hardest region. You'll have Arizona in this region. You'll have UNC in this region. Some of the teams that are still left. You'll have You'll have Alabama, St. Mary's. You'll have Alabama, St. Mary's in this region. And then you'll have. There should be a lot of Mountain West teams. I mean, some of them were in the first four, but I haven't seen New Mexico State yet. I haven't seen Mississippi State yet.
Yeah, Mississippi State's going to be in there.
I haven't seen Dayton yet. So some of these teams, like, we're coming up here. I haven't seen St. John's. I haven't seen Indiana State, Oklahoma. Like, where are these teams at? I'm feeling nervous for some of these fan bases right now. There's a lot of teams that are on the bubble, so to speak, and there's not enough spots. Like, there's only one more region left, and I can feel people getting nervous. All right, here we go. UNC versus Howard or Wagner, winner of that game.
Sorry to interrupt. As the games come in, Grace just said three-peat champ in the making. So
100%. Oh, 100%.
Whoa! Yeah. What? You're not supporting me in this
until you prove otherwise.
Jeez.
Until you prove otherwise, I have to go with two-time champion.
Goodness.
I have to go with the two-time champion.
I feel so lonely right now. Anyway,
okay.
The bracket's getting
released. Just prove me wrong, Owen. This is to motivate you.
Do my best.
Mississippi State versus Michigan State in the 8-9 matchup. I mean, it's going to be interesting because you got a lot of these teams in the Big Ten, 9 seed, 5 seed, 4 seed, Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan State. Like, can these teams, Purdue at the 1 line, can these teams actually win this year in the tournament? It's going to be interesting to see and find out. St. Mary's at the 5 versus Grand Canyon. Wow, that's a big matchup. Grand Canyon, they've been absolutely on a roll, but St. Mary's they always seem to find the 5 line, and they always seem to win one game and then lose the next game. Like, St. Mary's just can never get anywhere. So I wonder if this year is going to be different for them. And then you have Alabama versus Charleston. Charleston, they're like Vermont. They always make the tournament and then they never win. So can they get over the hump this year? As they're playing Alabama, who has a amazing offensive team. at the 4 versus 13. Man, I got to dive into these 4 versus 13, 5 versus 12 matchups a little bit. There's going to be some crazy.
Upsets.
Here's the thing with upsets. In my opinion, I love picking upsets because you only need one of the two to be right, because nobody's going to be picking for the upset. So if you get the upset right once and you get it wrong the other time, you're going to do just as well as someone who picks both people right, you know? So why not pick 2 upsets as opposed to none?
Mm-hmm.
Even if one of them misses, you still have the other one. So that means we haven't seen Arizona. They'll be the 2 seed in this region. And man, there's a couple of schools that we haven't seen yet on the bubble. Is St. John's? I could have sworn St. John's was getting in.
I thought so too.
If Virginia gets in over St. John's, like Virginia's already in,
mm-hmm.
I'll throw a riot, honestly. Like, I'm just gonna go to the Capitol and just start partying or whatever they do in a riot.
Oh.
And man, because I think that team is really good. They only lost by 5 to UConn. Like only 5, and I know that it's still a loss to UConn, but they're playing ever since
loss.
Rick Pitino went off on them. They lost the game like about a month ago. Rick Pitino goes, "This team sucks. They're slow laterally. They literally can't do anything on offense." Like, he asked them like, "What would you do differently if?" Or like, so a reporter asked the question like, "What would you change with this team?" He's like, "I can't do anything. Like, I just got the guys I could. Like literally it's St. John's. Like I just got the guys I could." Like he's like saying he just got anybody that he could. Like these guys suck. And since that point, they've been on an absolute tear. Only lost by 5 to UConn. Beat up on some other bubble teams. They obviously beat Seton Hall, probably out of the tournament at this point. In a must-win game scenario. And so, yeah, I mean, I really want them to be in this tournament. I'm really pulling for them. Same with New Mexico. I need New Mexico to be in here. They made a run in the Mountain West. I need them to be in this tournament.
New Mexico,
they're not in this tournament.
They should be in there. That I feel more confident in that than St. John's. But
all right, New Mexico got in. Here we go. Clemson versus New Mexico, 6-11. Man, I'm glad those guys got in. Oh, look at this. I forgot about Colgate.
How could you forget about Colgate?
They got in. Every year they get in. They're just like Vermont at the 14 seed. Oh, man, this is great. They're playing Baylor round 1. They always seem to get into the tournament, and they can never win a game. This year could be different. It could be different, I'm telling you. You got Dayton versus Nevada at the 7 versus 10 line. And then you got Arizona versus Long Beach State. All right. So Baylor ended up being that 3 seed in this region.
Mm-hmm. So
man,
we've got 8 Big 12 teams, 8 SEC teams. They were expected. Big 12 was expected to have the most, but the SEC with the late push, they ended up having the same amount. Okay. So, do you want to talk about these matchups, and then we'll look at who missed, who's out?
Yeah, I mean, my initial thought process goes to New Mexico, obviously at the 11 line. I really like them. They've just got this small little point guard, and I like teams with small point guards. Like Texas right now, they've got Max Abmas. New Mexico, they've been beaten up in the Mountain West region, and they won a bunch of tournament games. They got to their conference final in their championship game. So I really like New Mexico at the 11 line there. Arizona versus Arizona and Baylor at the 2 and 3. Those teams, they're not coming into the tournament the strongest, but if they win a couple of games, I could see them really getting going. You obviously have UNC with, honestly, this could be the best duo in the whole tournament. Armando Bacot and RJ Davis.
Yeah.
Those guys were unbelievable. Unbelievable. I saw them live. And RJ Davis, his step back is probably unguardable. He has a nice floater game, and he can finish at the rim. Like, it's everything you want in a guard. Armando Bacot is just the man down low. So that duo, it's going to be hard to stop, honestly. And I don't think you really can stop it. You just have to outscore it because the defense is a little bit lacking. Not necessarily lacking, just not quite as strong as the offense. So
NC State put up 74 to beat them.
NC State put up 74, and they were just a team of destiny. So I think they could have put up 50 and still beat them. They were just destined to win that tournament. So I don't know if they'll be destined to win this tournament, but they were at least destined to win the ACC. So Arizona. I mean, Long Beach State at the 15 line. If you really want a deep pull, Long Beach State. I mean, they're from a great region down in California, and they're more known for volleyball. But
Long Beach,
some of these guys, man, Long Beach State could be a deep pull at the 15 line. I mean, this is the region that St. Peter's came out of a couple of years ago.
Okay.
So don't count out Long Beach State if you want a deep pull, especially because Arizona just lost to USC. They just lost to USC. They just lost to Oregon. A couple of these teams that, like, USC isn't even in the bracket. Long Beach State, they're in the bracket. So something to think about there. Let's get into some
Arizona
of these teams.
Last year lost from the 2 seed, lost to Princeton, I believe, first round.
They did.
So track record.
They lost first round. They do have a track record. Them and Purdue. Those are the two teams that have the biggest track record of losing in recent years. So something to watch for sure.
Yeah.
Wow. Some of these teams, man, I'm so disappointed that they didn't make it. Because I saw, okay, here's the thing, Owen. I saw Virginia in person. I saw them in person. They are not fun to, like, they're not, it's not that they're not fun to watch, it's just that they're
Virginia's
not a tournament team. They don't look like a tournament team. And they got in over St. John's, like, who's playing, like, out of their minds. Like, I would say a top 10 team in the nation right now. But hey, honestly, I'm a little bit upset about it, but I don't really like Rick Pitino, so I'm not too upset about it. I just think he has his guys playing really well right now, and they should at least account for that a little bit. So I do feel bad for them. Indiana State, they would have been amazing. Drake got in as a 10 at the 10 line, but Indiana State just never had a chance to do anything this year. Pitt, I thought Pitt looked better than Virginia. I saw Pitt in person. I saw Virginia in person. Both of these teams, if they would have won one more game, like, Pitt had the opportunity. They were playing UNC. If they would have just won that game, they'd be in the tournament. They couldn't get it done. Virginia, if they would have just made it to the tournament and lost, Virginia did get in, but crazy actually. Providence didn't get in. Who else didn't get in? Oklahoma.
Yeah, Oklahoma. Did TCU also not? Oklahoma and TCU.
No,
sorry. I think TCU did.
Right. TCU made it.
Yeah.
TCU made it in. Kansas State didn't make it in.
That's the purple Big 12 team.
That's right. Kansas State didn't make it in. Wake Forest, the Demon Deacons, just beat Duke a couple weeks ago. Didn't get in. Nova obviously didn't get in. It's sad for a couple of these teams. Ohio State didn't get in.
They made kind of a late push.
Wow. They did. They were making a late push. It wasn't quick enough. But wow, this is man. This is awesome. The it looks like
to go to the chat.
Yeah,
we've Luke said it's not a rivalry if it's one-sided. Back to the rivalry again. We're just gonna keep bringing that up until I can get the monkey off my back.
It's not a rivalry. Hey, that's true though. That's true.
Yeah, I guess. And then Anna Martin said, "Can I get a shout out?" So shout out. There you go. Also, since we actually have people in here right now, there have been points where there's been nobody, so I want to take advantage of this. We're doing an all sports all the time bracket group. I'm pretty sure everybody knows what that is. Like in ESPN, you can create a bracket group and everyone does their brackets and you're like in a competition together. We're doing an all sports all the time one. So in the comments, while Parker talks about more teams that missed out or matchups, I'm gonna get the link for that, paste it in, send that to you guys in the comments, and have the password in there as well so that people can join that. Now that the bracket's set, you can join that. We can do an all sports all the time bracket challenge group. So wanted to
it's
remind everyone of that.
We're gonna make it pretty big, Owen. I'm gonna be sending it out to tons of people. So because I won't do my personal this year, we'll just do we'll do that one.
Oh, okay. So, I didn't even know about that.
I was thinking I could do it, but I think it'd be honestly, we get like just doing it virtual like that. Mm-hmm. I think that's what we should do. So
that would definitely be easier for you.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I'm gonna tons of people. I don't think a lot of people want to do monetary. I think we can get more people with no money because a lot of people are in college and it's not like they have unlimited dollars to spend. You know what I mean? But I think we could have just the bragging rights here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think we could think of something other than like winning money. I think we could think of some type of like, we've done a competition before where like the winner was on an episode. We could do that. We could have like the winner be a guest. We could do like free some type of like, we've got not necessarily all sorts all the time merch, but we've got like the Philadelphia graphic tees. If you're not a Philadelphia fan, then that would suck if you won. But like, you know, we can think of something. So that's in the works. We'll figure that out eventually. But yeah, do you have other teams that didn't make it that you want to talk about, or do you want to start getting into, now that we have the full bracket, some matchups that stand out to you initially?
I will say a couple words just for people that feel like their teams got snubbed.
Okay.
The Seton Hall, I feel like that was a do or die game with St. John's. I thought the winner of that was going to be in, and they both lost. So it just didn't matter.
Luke said the winner should get bacon. I like that.
Hey,
who doesn't like
that's
bacon?
A great idea. I love bacon. But other than that, is there anything else I want to talk about? Oklahoma, they seem like they were pretty firmly in. And so just to see them, I want to see their body of work just one more time. But it looked like they were, they've been a super solid team all year. Wazoo was the 42nd team in KenPom, Texas A&M 44th team, Florida Atlantic 41st team, 43rd team was Oklahoma. So they're literally, KenPom-wise, they were in the exact same situation as a bunch of the other teams that made the tournament. They had 20 wins in the Big 12. Like, if that doesn't secure it, then I don't know what does. So do I feel bad for Oklahoma? 100%. They were top 50 in both adjusted offense and defensive efficiency. So good on both ends of the floor. And you had 20 wins in the Big 12. But you don't get in. So I can't believe Virginia got in over them again. I don't know why Virginia is in the tournament. Like, it's beyond me, honestly. It's definitely biased towards Tony Bennett and Virginia. Mm-hmm. But, you can control what you can control, and you can't control the committee that decides this thing. So there's definitely going to be some uproar about that, which I'm going to hop on board with as well. But let's start talking a little bit about matchups.
Yes, I want to know what some of these matchups are that stand out to you right off the bat.
Yeah. So like hard hitting. Obviously, we talked about the fact that the East is loaded. I mean, absolutely loaded. It's not more so the initial matchups; it's the matchups in the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 that are really going to hit, because these top 4 seeds are all fantastic. UConn, the best 1 seed. Iowa State, the best 2 seed. And then Illinois, obviously, I'm not sure if they're the best 3 seed, but they just won their conference tournament. And then Auburn, the best 4 seed for sure. So, yeah. And then you have San Diego State University that has experience at the 5 line. They made it to the Final Four last year. Mm-hmm. Or no, did they? they made the Final Four, right?
They made it to the championship, didn't they?
They made it to the championship game
they lost
last
to
year.
UConn in the championship.
Yeah. So they made it to the championship game. So they're at the 5 line, and man, that whole region is scary. There's not specific games I want to talk about in that region, but you have a 7-10 matchup there. Wazoo, Washington State versus Drake. That's going to be a fun one. Wazoo has shown some stuff over the past couple games. They've beaten Arizona twice. Drake, they obviously they beat Indiana State or else they weren't going to get in, but they've been like probably one of the best mid-majors, and that's why they have a 10 line. They've been absolutely fantastic throughout the entire year. That's going to be a trendy 10-7 pick. I wouldn't be surprised if Drake is actually favored in that game.
Wow. Okay.
So we'll have to see what happens when the betting odds come out, but that's going to be a trendy pick right there.
Whoever comes out of that region, whoever you pick to be in like the finals of that region or to come out of that region, likely that they will do well past that because of being battle tested.
Yeah, it would be hard to think that whoever comes out of that region won't win their at least Final Four game, you know? But it is it's a one game sample, so it's super small and you never know. Let's go over to the South, and the matchup that sticks out to me right off the bat, like the moneymaker matchup, Duke versus Vermont. Like, can Vermont finally overcome the hump? Duke obviously just got upset by NC State, who's in the 11th seed in the tournament. But can Vermont actually win a game in the conference tournament? Let's see here. They beat UMass by 5 yesterday. But they are on a little bit of a winning streak here. They've won their last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They won their last 9 games. So they are on a little bit of a winning streak. They have a couple guards that are just fantastic. I used to play for Cedar Crest.
Okay.
Wow, that's crazy.
So we've got
I didn't know he was on the team
from our area in this tournament. We've got Stevie Mitchell. We've got Ryan Moffitt.
Yeah, they got a guy that used to play for Cedar Crest, and he actually gets time. Ayo Filet, he jumps through the gym. Like, he gets up. Like, he's crazy. So they got Ayo Filet. Vermont could be a sneaky little pick and that's going to be a primetime game with Duke. I can just guarantee it. And I just don't like Duke at all. Also got, a lot of people. This is going to be interesting. You got Wisconsin, who they got Chucky Hepburn, their guard. He does it all for them. Had a couple huge shots in their semifinal game. And then they got AJ Storr as well. They combined for 44 points in their championship game today versus Illinois in the loss. But they're at the 5 line. Can the Big Ten actually prove themselves this year? They haven't done it in the past. They're facing James Madison, who had a very successful year. I think they won 30 games. So that is going to be really interesting. These 5-12 matchups, 4-13 matchups, you know that some of these teams are going to win. It's just which ones. And James Madison could be one of those teams. They ended up winning their conference final game by 20 points. It wasn't even close. So James Madison, I think they're one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the country. So that could be an interesting team to watch if they get hot. In KenPom, actually.
That's where I was going
James
too.
Madison, they're the 59th team in KenPom. So for being a mid-major, 59th, that's not bad at all. I mean, the highest, I think, mid-major is Drake. Drake's at 51 in KenPom. But they don't really get the opportunity to play these tough teams. And so to be high in KenPom is a little bit tricky. They're right behind NC State in KenPom. And obviously we saw what just happened with NC State. And just to bring up Virginia again, all these teams are like close. Like Oklahoma got snubbed. They're 43rd in KenPom. Virginia is all the way down at 68th in KenPom, right next to San Francisco and Butler. But they made the tournament. I don't understand. But I digress. We'll get away from that. those are a couple interesting matchups there. And you have a couple teams here in the Mountain West. You have Utah State at the 8 line, and it's going to be fun to see what the Mountain West does this year. Nebraska, Texas A&M at the 8-9. Here's my thing with the 8-9 seeds, Owen. I'm not very good at picking the 8-9 matchups. I'm usually,
I mean, most people.
I'm usually 50. I'm usually 50%, right?
That is
But
normal. Yeah.
The thing. Usually, one of those teams goes on to beat the 1 seed. So every year I try and predict it, and every year I end up being wrong.
Yeah.
So not only do I knock out a 1 seed, I also predict the wrong thing. So then I knock out a 1 seed, and then I predict the wrong thing. So I lose out on 2 different regions with the 1 seed. So I'm just really bad at predicting it. But you know that one of these 8 or 9 seeds, there's 8 of them. 8 teams, one of them is going to beat a 1 seed at least. It could be 2. It could be more. So last year.
Let's look at. Sorry, after you say what's last year, let's look at what we have this year and which ones could be susceptible.
Yeah, for sure. So I think last year, two of the 1 seeds didn't make it, or maybe 3 of them didn't make it past the Sweet 16.
I think that's right. I think it was early that they went out.
Yeah, early. So, I mean, all these teams are susceptible. Which has the best shot? Let's look at the 8-9 matchups. Texas A&M versus Nebraska. I don't. Oh man, I really like the Japanese sniper. You know, he's just he lights up the hoop, but I don't like Big Ten, so it kind of contradicts and balances out. We'll just say theoretically here, I'm just talking. Texas A&M, do they have a chance to beat Houston? 100%.
Yeah,
100%. Like Texas A&M can beat Houston. They just lost by 20 to Iowa State, and Texas A&M is they're like a mini version of Iowa State. Like honestly, they're the same type of team.
And that
just gritty.
That game will be loud because it's in the South region and it's Houston and Texas A&M. So like they're both gonna have a bunch of fans there, which will be just make the atmosphere more exciting, which could help with an upset.
That's true. I mean, Texas A&M fans are just going to be really rooting for their team. So Houston is susceptible. I'm just saying it right now. Purdue, I don't even need to talk about them. They're always susceptible, and they're going to be playing Utah State versus TCU. Man, I could see either one of these teams, Utah State or TCU. I'd have to dig into that matchup more to see like what the players match up like in that Utah State TCU game. But I could see both of those teams knocking off Purdue. Now, is it going to happen? I don't know. It's tough to predict that, but I would feel better about Utah State if they make it, beating off Purdue.
Okay.
North Carolina, UNC versus either Mississippi State or Michigan State. Michigan State always seems to make the tournament, even though they had 14 losses.
I think that's the closest, according to KenPom. That's like the closest distance between 2. Michigan State at 18, North Carolina at 9.
Yeah, so Michigan State has great KenPom ranking, and I could see them. I could also see Mississippi State knocking off UNC. I saw UNC play in person. I just saw them last night not get knocked off by an 11 seed, right? So if you think about them losing to an 8 or 9, very reasonable. And then UConn, they're the only team I feel like is set to make it into the the Sweet 16.
Okay.
I don't see them losing to Florida Atlantic or Northwestern.
Gotcha.
Now,
and then
could it happen?
Past the 8-9, that's where it gets
right. Now,
like now an easier second round game, but then the rest is harder, so it kind of balances.
Yeah, I mean, Florida Atlantic was fantastic last year. It's just I don't think they have the depth to go toe to toe with UConn, and UConn's going to be basically getting a bye. Like their first round, they're not going to be worried about Stetson. They're just too good of a team to lose in that first round. It's not going to happen. So yeah, they're basically gonna have a bye to the Florida Atlantic Northwestern game, and I don't think either of those teams can knock them off. Florida Atlantic hasn't been playing as well as it was at the beginning of the year, and Northwestern, again, one of these teams that is pretty solid. They've had a very solid year, but I don't trust them to upset a team like UConn.
Yeah, no.
So I would say UConn's the only team that's not susceptible to being knocked off before the first weekend.
Which lines up with what you said at the beginning of the stream, where you said I'm the most confident in UConn to make a run. To, like, if you had to pick one seed, you're most confident in UConn, and so that the bracket fell nicely to help that hold up there. Well, kind of nicely. It helps with your confidence in that they won't get knocked out early. But then the gauntlet. That's that.
The gauntlet.
The East is the gauntlet. That's the name for it. It's not the East region. It's the gauntlet region. That's yeah. I can't believe it fell that way, man. So I gotta go soon. So any final thoughts on the bracket as a whole, the reveal, and then we'll plug the group again because got to get a bunch of people in the group. That's gonna be fun.
It's just so cool to see these matchups. Like, I'm gonna be able to dig into these now and actually like research these matchups. I know 100% I'm picking a perfect bracket this year.
Like every other year.
Shot, obviously, got to do it. This is the year. It will be before I die, guarantee you. But I feel like this is the year. Perfect bracket, here I come. Owen, I think this is the year where you're able to get revenge. Go ahead, you
really
lit up.
You think I will?
I think
no, I lit up because you think I can.
I'm Team Owen here, okay? If you didn't know that before, you do know it now. It's just I need you to prove it to me, and I need to light a fire under you.
I will do my best.
I'm Team Owen in this battle, but Grace basically has the trophy until it's taken away.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm going to do my best to yeah.
No, not do your best though. And you have to say it with conviction.
I will win this, like you just did, where you said you're going to pick a perfect bracket. I won't pick a perfect bracket, but I will win this year. I feel like pointing.
There we go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Confidence.
Perfect. And yeah, I'm pick. I don't know. Should I say this? But it's happened like 2 out of the last 3 years. Pick a 15 or 16 seed to win, because actually the last 3 years it's happened. Either a 15 seed or a 16 seed wins. So I guess that's what we're supposed to do now. If we want to pick a perfect bracket, we have to pick a 15 or 16.
I don't think I can pick a 16. I don't know, but a 15, I think I could see myself doing. I'll probably pick 15 to win with the 1 seed. Which I don't think I'll take a 16, but
10 years ago, I thought that was crazy. But now it's like, if I have aspirations of picking a perfect bracket, it's happened the last 3 years. So there's a track record now for a 15 or 16 seed winning. And 15 seed, if you pick them to win one, I mean, Princeton and St. Peter's each won like 2 or 3 games.
Yeah.
So if you pick them to win one, why not pick them again? But that just seems like you're throwing away points if you get the wrong thing.
Yeah, you got to be smart about it. But that's the fun of March Madness. That's why all of this is so much fun, because no matter how much research you do or analysis you do, no matter how much you know or don't know, it's all just insane and doesn't really make sense in the end. Like, the experts will pick their brackets. They're not going to be right. People who don't know anything about it will pick their brackets, and they might be more right. And it's just, yeah. That's why March Madness is awesome. And that's why you should join the All Sports All the Time Bracket Challenge group, because even if you don't know anything, if you don't know anything, you should just listen to Parker and automatically you'll know more than a lot of other people. So, like, there's really no excuses. Like, just the resource is here. Parker's got you. And then also, even if you don't listen to Parker, don't take his advice, or don't know much about college basketball, you can still fill out a bracket. So
that's true.
The link is pinned at the top of the chat here. We've got the password. It's bread is bready, all lowercase, of course. It has to be bread is bready. So yeah, join that. We're gonna get a bunch of people in there. Parker is gonna be our grader moderator, as he has been for many years. Just this time digitally instead of having a thick stack of papers that he has to flip through. And yeah, we're gonna have to figure out if there's an incentive for the winner. So comment if you have any ideas about that. Last second questions for Parker. If anyone has any other questions that they want to ask Parker before we go, then do it right now, because we are about to end this. We've been going for an hour 20. That hour 20 flew by. That's what happens when you're talking about college basketball.
It flew by. That's right, Owen.
So, all right. I don't see anything right now. So, I think we'll wrap up the stream. Thank you guys for watching. I don't really know what to expect for views. We don't really live stream ever. So, actually, I looked, Parker. Our only other saved live stream on YouTube is when we streamed Sixers Hawks Game 7, the Ben Simmons
oh man,
game.
Oh, that's awful. We need to delete that video.
So if you go to our live, there's now this and that stream, and in that stream, if you scroll to the exact right part, you go in the timeline to the exact right part, you can find the exact instant where our hearts dropped as Ben Simmons passed the ball under the net and the Sixers lost to the Hawks. So if you really if you enjoy seeing us in pain, go check that out.
Well, sad way to end the stream, Owen, yeah. But that's all right.
Happier basketball is around the corner.
Exactly. Better days are in the future, and yeah, let's. It was good talking with you, Owen. This is fun to do this show, and maybe more in the future. Maybe more coming up.
We might have to go live more often if people like this.
That's true.
A lot of shows are doing live stuff, so we now know we have the capability to do it. So yeah, we'll see. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you, as always, Parker, for your brilliant analysis going on. I don't know, however many years we've done the podcast at the same time as March Madness. I think 4 years of,
I think so.
Of March Madness analysis from
That's
Parker.
Right.
So I think we can officially call you our, like ESPN, some people are analysts, some people are senior analysts. I think you're now, after 4 years, you go to high school for 4 years, you're a senior. So you're now our senior basketball analyst. Congratulations.
Nice. I'm the senior analyst. Thank you, Owen. Thank you. It means a lot, actually, to get that title increase. Does it come with a pay increase as well?
Anything would be a pay increase, but still no.
It comes with bacon.
Courtesy of Luke.
Courtesy of Luke, that's right.
We're going to have to establish that Luke is the one giving the bacon. So, yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Man. This is awesome. We're so excited for March Madness. I can't wait. Join the group. And we got, less than 48 hours, right?
Yeah, before the first 4 games, it starts Tuesday. So less than 48 hours. Let's get this ball rolling. It's going to be awesome.
There we go. We'll be back with another episode next week, a regularly scheduled episode. This was a bonus one, so bonus content. You're welcome. Thank you guys for watching. We will see you next time.